24.1 is here. We have the first workout of this year's Open. It's a pretty simple one. 21-59, kind of doubled up rep scheme with dumbbell snatches, keeping the dumbbell in that same arm on each set, and then those lateral burpees over the dumbbell. We're going to break this down into those 4 areas that I mentioned before. They're going to be assessing the workout, looking at the preparation for the workout, the execution, and then finally the evaluation. And actually the evaluation part will come later once we have some tools ready for you to analyze your own performance. Now, looking at assessing the workout, we hope that you watched the announcement show so you have some ideas of a couple different approaches and overall execution of this workout. But the main theme of this piece is going to be go fast, don't die. What does that mean, go fast, don't die? It means that it's one of those workouts where there's only 2 ways you can fail it. You can go too fast and then not make it to the finish or slow down significantly, or you can go too slow and you'll never make up that lost time from that round of 21s. So you have to walk that fine line between those 2. You need to push yourself, but you need to know yourself so that you can choose the right pace for you to finish the workout. Now, a couple of considerations. The burpee is definitely going to be the big piece in this workout. We'll touch on the dumbbell snatch, but the burpee is going to be the majority of the time. So for most people, the best way to do this is to be economical, but still stay fast. And if you look at Jeffrey Adler's performance, he was dropping down, and then he was stepping up on almost all of the burpees except at the end. And that's going to be the technique of choice for all of you. If you think that popping up is faster, yes, it can be marginally faster if you also stay low on that jump. But the difference is so small that wherever your fitness level is, that's unlikely going to be the differentiator. It's better to be smooth and economical through the whole piece. So drop down, step up, make sure you stay low on the burpee. Now, if the dumbbell snatch is more of a challenge for you, it could be a challenge in a couple different ways. The weight could be just heavy. It could also be a question of grip fatigue, keeping that on the same arm, or it could get fatiguing for your lower back, or could get painful for your lower back. We're going to address all of those issues and some solutions for you when we get to the movement part on the execution. Let's talk about preparation. So first of all, logistics. This should be a pretty simple one. Now I say that and I'm a little nervous. Make sure you go on the website and check out the official instructions on everything. Make sure you have the right dumbbell. You have a judge who knows what they're doing. Your filming is from the right angle. Get those basics right. It does not get more simple than this. Now, how about fueling? It is not that long of a workout. So if you have been fueling well in the days leading up to this, that would be ideal. You're coming into the workout with well replenished glycogen stores. You should be fine. Just have your normal breakfast. Do the things that you normally do. Don't change anything now on the game day. Does some caffeine before you go be helpful? Yes, some caffeine would be probably helpful in most times in life, especially before this workout. You want to make sure that you had that breakfast. You don't want to skip breakfast and do this on an empty stomach. Make sure you're hydrated. These basics still apply, but don't overthink the nutrition here. Now, how about the warm-up? Okay, we have a couple things we want to consider. First of all, blood flow, specifically for the posterior chain, lower back, especially maybe those chest muscles. So you want to, when you get to the gym, you want to hop on a bike, spend some time there. It could be an air bike, you get a little bit of more upper body, or it could be just the normal bike erg. Then make sure you spend some time on the rower. This is not getting your heart rate up, it's just getting some blood flow into the tissues. So some time on the bike, some time on the rower, get those tissues nice and warm. You can do some banded stuff. We have some examples in our warm-ups as well if you need to get some specific blood flow. Next, we want to do some range of motion. So we have a movement flow that you can follow and some suggestions for some additional mobility to address the positions that you need to address. It could be anything from your wrists on the burpees, the overhead position, and then very importantly, that hip flexion going down into burpees and going down into the snatches. Lower back is really going to be the tissue that's going to be at risk or under challenge here, so you want to make sure that that feels nice and warm, both with blood flow and in terms of range of motion that's available. Next one is going to be prepping the movements. It is pretty simple. You want to decide if you're going to do muscle snatch or power snatch, of course, and how you're going to hold the dumbbell. I recommend most people will hold it here. This is a little old school. I don't recommend it unless it's very heavy weight and you have to really max out. But otherwise, just normal things. You want to play around with your hip height as well. For the dumbbell snatch, higher hip height, it's going to be faster. It's going to be a little bit more economical in terms of the requirement for your cardiovascular system, but it's also going to be more taxing for your lower back, whereas the lower hips will be a little bit easier for the lower back, but it's going to be more taxing otherwise. So make some choices in the warm-up for the dumbbell snatch and then respect them in the workout. Same thing on the burpees. Make sure you got that dropping down and stepping up dialed in. Make sure that jump is dialed in and you're staying low on the jump. Find also a good rhythm that you're going to use in the actual workout. All these things will really contribute to your success when you get into the workout and you're not thinking under high intensity. And then finally, heart rate. So we want to be specific with this. So all of our warm-ups will have segments where you're doing kind of mini rounds of the workout that will just help you bring the heart rate up a little bit and prep you while doing it in the context of the actual piece. And then finally, if you do need to get that heart rate up more, if you feel like the warm-up wasn't sufficient yet at this point, you can always hop on an air bike or another machine that's going to help you to get the heart rate up without inducing a lot of fatigue. So make sure you consider each one of these parts: blood flow, range of motion, prepping the movements, and then getting that heart rate high enough so that you're ready to hit this piece hard. So you've done all this preparation and you're ready to go. Now what? Well, it's time to talk about execution. And actually, we've talked about it quite a lot, but as a friendly reminder, this workout is all about going fast and not dying while doing so. So it's very much like running a mile. If you go too fast on those first 2 laps, you're not going to make it to the end, or you have to slow down significantly to get there. But if you go too slow, then there's no way to make up that time. So you have to be really smart with your pacing, especially on the first part of the mile. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going slow. It's going to be very uncomfortable, but you just can't get too uncomfortable too soon. I have some good news for you. Wait, this is actually bad news. The bad news is that when you get to that second set of 21 burpees, it's going to feel like there's forever to go before you finish. It's going to be hard to push. But the good news is going to be that when you get through that first set of 15 burpees on that kind of second round, then you're going to start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And from that point on, it's kind of, you're almost there at the home stretch. You're almost at the final lap of this workout, if that was a 1 mile run. So what do you have to do between the second 21 burpees, or actually from the beginning of the workout, and that first set of 15 and getting to the end of that 15, is be smart. Make sure you remember the things that we talked about before about stepping up the burpees, staying low on the burpees to be economical. And also, if the dumbbell snatch is a challenge for you, remembering to break it down into predetermined sets, or if it's not a challenge for you, just keeping a good steady pace on the unbroken sets. The workout is not won on the dumbbell snatch, but you can certainly put yourself in a place where you might lose it. So one more time, take it as a 1 mile run. Don't be shy at the beginning. Make sure you challenge yourself, but you need to have some gas left for that final lap. We've talked so much about the burpee. A little bonus feature for those of you who might struggle with the dumbbell snatch. Firstly, the fastest way to do the dumbbell snatch will be high hip muscle snatches. It's going to be a little bit more economical as well. If you can pull that off, great. Now, if you need to start to adjust it, you can go to power snatches and low hip setup. Let's talk about those a little bit in the context of the challenges that you might face. Number one is going to be if the dumbbell is just heavy for you. Hopefully that's not the case, but if it is, power snatch is obviously the way to go, keeping the dumbbell close and maybe even trying to turn it in disorientation if you're truly going for kind of 1 rep max, which we hope is not going to be the situation. Remember to be aggressive also and use those hips if this is the case. Now, number 2 is going to be grip. It might fatigue because you're holding the dumbbell on the same arm the whole time. If you have big hands, just go for that hook grip. It's going to save you. If you have smaller hands, you might not be able to use that. And then, of course, breaking the work down to sets is going to be helpful if the grip starts to fatigue. Don't hesitate to go there. You won't lose that much time. Remember, the money is made on the burpees. And then finally, and maybe the biggest thing, is going to be that a lot of people, when combining the dumbbell snatch with the burpee, especially, will experience a lot of lower back fatigue. And this is going to get painful at some point in the workout. If this is the case, you can just switch to a lower hip setup using those legs more to generate the drive. This is not as economical as the high hip, but it's going to get you through this. You can always obviously break the reps down to sets as well. You can consider a Velcro belt, as that might be helpful for you if you're used to using it. And then finally, always make sure that you keep the dumbbell close. That economical dumbbell path is always also going to be better for your body. So just a couple extra tips for those of you who might struggle with the dumbbell snatch. So now you've done the workout, what's next? Well, some kind of a cool down would be very beneficial. Maybe you hop on a bike 5-10 minutes, do some stretches, try to relieve that lower back as well if you got very, very pumped. But once you've done that cool down, refuel, then it's time to have just a little debrief with yourself about how the workout went. You want to think about things that went well, first of all. Those are harder sometimes to focus on. What went well? At least a few things. What would you like to improve on if you do this again, whether you do it again or not? And then later on, you can start to think about if you want to repeat the workout, either if something went wrong or if open is a really important competition for you and you don't know if you're going to make it through in those 25%. If you just want to feed your ego in the open, but your goal is to get to semifinals, for example, then you just do the workout once. The score is probably going to be sufficient and you move on and start to continue with your training for those quarterfinals. Now, if you are going to repeat the workout, we're going to have some more tools coming for you later this weekend, ways to analyze your workout a little bit more in depth so that you can have the best strategy when you're going to repeat the workout at the end of the weekend or on Monday. Good luck, guys. It's the first one. Nice and simple. Hopefully we didn't make it sound too complicated. Remember, go fast, don't die. Let's get it.